Hello and welcome to Inside the Americas with me, Laura Cellier, coming up in the programme. Upsets in Quebec. The independence campaign left licking its wounds after a disastrous election result. Plus 8 wives and a career that spanned 9 decades. We look at the life and times of Hollywood legend Mickey Rooney, who died this week at the age of 93. And getting ready for liftoff in New Mexico. We travel to the US state, preparing to host the world's first commercial spaceflight. But first, Quebec's campaign for independence is in disarray after the Separatist Party's worst election result in decades. The Parti Québécois lost dozens of seats to the Liberals, including that of party leader Pauline Marois. Canada's Prime Minister said it showed Quebecers did not want a referendum on independence. William Hildebrand has more on this huge election upset.
A crushing defeat for Parti Québécois. Gone is a chance of a new referendum on independence, and gone too is Pauline Marois as party leader and Quebec premier after just 18 months in office. Brushed to the side by voters for the anti-separatist Quebec Liberal Party. Leader Philippe Couillard will take the reins as the new premier.
My dear friends, the time of being divided has ended. The time of reconciliation is upon us. Quebec has chosen the economy and jobs as its priorities. It has chosen to be open and united. This victory is one of respect by a strong, proud, and ambitious people.
Parti Québécois began the campaign with a lead, but opposition parties gained ground after saying Marois would launch a referendum. The province has held 2 previous referendums, one in 1980 that was heavily defeated, and another in 1995 that narrowly lost. This time around, voters didn't want to take the chance. Nearly 2/3 of Quebec citizens were against holding a referendum, pushing Parti Québécois to its lowest share of the vote in more than 40 years.
Hollywood said goodbye to one of the last stars from the golden age of cinema this week. Baby-faced Mickey Rooney was one of the biggest box office draws of the black and white era, and for many Americans, he was a household name. Well, he died this week at the age of 93, and as Kate Moody reports, his life off-screen was every bit as dramatic as his life on film.
He was a Hollywood icon, a mainstay on the silver screen and television sets across America.
I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Born Joe Yule Jr. in 1920, the pint-sized performer began acting as a child, adopting the stage name Mickey Rooney.
4th of July. Here I come.
He hit it big in 1937 when he was cast as the quintessential all-American boy next door in the popular Andy Hardy movies.
Never felt better in my... Oh, excuse me, Dad. Go ahead and say grace.
Other hits included National Velvet with Elizabeth Taylor and Babes in Arms with Judy Garland.
We only want to thank each and every one of you for coming here this afternoon and giving us such a treat and knowing how well we're liked.
It wasn't all roses for Rooney, who later said his early fame had forced him to grow up too fast. As an adult, he struggled with drug and financial problems. His career slumped and he declared bankruptcy in the 1960s. But he never left show business. His career saw a revival in the 1970s, and alongside his 8th wife, Jan, he continued acting until his death. Fans gathered around his star on Hollywood Boulevard, saying his talent crossed generations.
Makes me really sad. You know, a lot of stars, old stars, are passing away with Shirley Temple recently, so it seems like it's kind of an ending of an era with a lot of black and white film stars.
Mickey Rooney was the gold miner. Mickey Rooney was the best. He's one of the best that was played real good parts, and people need to look at that, because Mickey Rooney, you can't find good actors like that no more.
A fitting tribute to the man who remained active to the end, always vowing never to retire, but to inspire.
Now, the future of space travel is almost upon us. Hundreds of people have already bought tickets for the very first commercial spaceflight. And billionaire investor Richard Branson will be the first on board when the rocket takes off from the deserts of New Mexico. Our Philip Crowther has been to find out if everything is ready for liftoff.
This is still the highlight of the weekend in the town of Truth or Consequences. But for a few years now, they've been awaiting the new show in town, space travel. the next frontier. This is the middle of nowhere, with no rain and blue skies, the perfect spot for millionaires to stop off on their way to space. That, at least, is what the tour buses do.
We focus on deep space and figure out...
Mark Bleth is a former member of the US Air Force. His company has exclusive access to Spaceport America. On board this week, a family from Oklahoma. Every weekend, people come to verify that this place actually exists.
The job fair that they did at Mojave advertised that they had 100 openings that were for future positions at Spaceport America.
Mark Bleth's first stop for visitors is the HQ for the spaceport. The brand new fire trucks are based here. It all feels a little bit sci-fi. Inside, the only thing missing are the people.
I mean, we're ready. It's completely built. You know, staff is in place. Contracts are in place. It's just a matter of their vehicle being ready. Their customers are in place. They're hiring staff, so it's just waiting on the vehicle. Put your seat backs in the fully upright position, chair table stowed, and here we go.
The ribbon for the runway has already been cut. 3 kilometers of concrete, long enough for a takeoff into suborbit. The main building is the one built by Virgin Galactic. It includes a floor that will one day, maybe very soon, be called the Astronauts Lounge. At this moment, around 700 people have bought tickets to go into space with Virgin Galactic. They've paid between $200,000 and $250,000 for that privilege. And for that investment, the reward is that this will be their new home airport. These sturdy doors will maybe this year already hide the spacecraft themselves, as well as the planes that will take them into the sky. These images from Virgin Galactic give an idea of what the first flights are supposed to look like. Cutting-edge technology and a quiet town waiting for a new start. Truth or Consequences is not rich. They want a new gold rush. Businesses want a part of this. New restaurants open, but the astronauts are still out of sight.
And the spaceport was a big bright light that said, you know, you're going to have a lot of increase in business. You're going to be able to breathe easier. And of course, that was 5-6 years ago. And we still didn't get there yet, although it looks a lot closer now.
August is when dreams of spaceflight and dreams of an economic boom might become a reality. That is, if promises are kept. Until then, a sleepy town waits impatiently.
And finally, way before Candy Crush came on the scene, the most addictive computer game on the market was called Tetris. And on Saturday, hundreds of people got to play a super-sized version on the side of a building in Philadelphia. This was one of a series of events at Philly Tech Week. Well, Tetris was created by Russian computer programmer Alexei Pajitnov way back in 1984. But according to these pictures, the game clearly hasn't lost its appeal. Well, that's it for this edition of Inside the Americas. Stay tuned. You're watching France 24.